Hey everyone, welcome back to Everyday EV. For today's video, we have the all-electric Volkswagen ID.4 here at the house. And sadly, we don't have this vehicle for too long, so for today's video, we are going to be doing an overview of what the Volkswagen ID.4 is, some of the features, powertrain, charging specs, and just some of the other things that this vehicle has to offer an everyday EV driver. So before I begin, I just want to say a big thank you to you guys, the viewers. Honestly, if it wasn't for your support of Everyday EV, subscribing, liking, commenting, and creating this great community of EV enthusiasts, I would not have opportunities like this to have an ID.4 at our house. So thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate the support. So let's talk trims. The Volkswagen ID.4 starts at the base trim, which is called the Pro trim, and that starts at an MSRP of $39,995. That comes with rear-wheel drive setup for the powertrain, which provides 201 horsepower and 250 miles of driving range. So the next trim up is known as the Volkswagen ID.4 Pro S, and now that starts at an MSRP of $44,495. You still get the standard rear-wheel drive setup with that 201 horsepower figure. However, it's going to look very similar to the exterior of this first edition trim right here. So we have updated headlights and some other exterior goodies. And with the Pro S, if you are in colder environments or if you do want better traction, you can upgrade to an all-wheel drive system that provides dual motors. So you have one motor on the front axle and one motor on the rear axle, and that provides an estimated horsepower figure of over 300 horsepower. So if you do want to upgrade to the all-wheel drive version of the Pro S ID.4, that will set you back $3,680. However, I definitely think with that horsepower increase with the dual motor setup, I think that's going to be worth it. This 201 horsepower trim behind us is pretty quick, but that extra 100 horsepower, definitely want to experience that too. So there's one more package above the Pro S. It's an optional package called the Gradient Package. That's going to give you things like 20-inch rims, a black roofline, as well as silver roof rails. And that price for that optional package is $1,500. Honestly, I feel like for $1,500 to get some optional 20-inch rims and just some other exterior goodies, I think that's a worth it package. So if you go with the base model ID.4, that allows you to select optional colors like silver, white, black. There's also a really nice gray called Moonstone Metallic. If you go for the first edition as well as the Pro S trim, that's where you can select this blue that's called Dusk Blue Metallic, which I absolutely love on this car. And then there's also an optional red color. It definitely allows you to customize different things with the exterior, but I think the blue is a winner for me. So now let's talk competitors. As you can see, the Volkswagen ID.4 is a nice compact crossover design. Volkswagen really wanted to create something that was also functional as well as fashionable. Well, now there's a lot of electric vehicles that are coming out, so you might be wondering what competitors Volkswagen is targeting. Well, it's not the ones you're thinking. They're not targeting the Model Y, they're not targeting the Ford Mustang Mach-E, they're actually targeting combustion SUVs. So let's talk like the Toyota RAV4, we're talking about the Honda CR-V, the Hyundai Tucson. This vehicle is priced directly at those competitors. And the nice thing with the Volkswagen ID.4 is that it still qualifies for the $7,500 federal tax credit. So not only does this vehicle undercut the competition, because it is an electric powertrain, you're saving on things like air pollution, maintenance, as well as fuel. I definitely think that this is a winner within that category of vehicles. So as mentioned, this is the first edition trim. Well, the first edition is a limited edition vehicle for reservation holders that when Volkswagen unveiled the ID.4 last year, they allowed reservation holders to deposit $100. So this is a limited edition run. Pretty much what the first edition gives you is this really nice silver accent that runs along the back part of the vehicle and these really nice aerodynamic 20-inch rims. It also gives you things like the adaptive LED headlights up front as well as some other interior limited edition features like a white steering wheel. Hey, good morning everybody. This is our second day with the ID.4, and last night I mentioned that we didn't have too much time with the vehicle. So I want to just talk very quickly about the battery and how much kilowatt hours are usable for the specific ID.4. So total battery capacity is 82 kilowatt hours. However, Volkswagen only allows you to use 77 kilowatt hours of that total capacity. And the reason for that is similar to what we saw in the Audi e-tron and the Porsche Taycan. It's for battery longevity. The really nice thing about that is that since they cap off that usable kilowatt hours, the battery pack will last a lot longer since you're not using the total battery capacity, which eventually would degrade the battery cells. So since Volkswagen is being really conservative with their battery capacity, the ID.4's battery should last you a very long time. So with the ID.4 being a compact crossover, it really allows for a lot of functionality and practicality. So you have this really tall rear end right here that offers a lot of nice cladding, which gives it kind of that SUV utility style. And you have this absolutely beautiful LED light strip that highlights the new Volkswagen branding logo right here. You have LED blinkers and taillights. Volkswagen also offers a really unique feature called Easy Open. There's a sensor down here that when you kick your foot 3 times underneath it, the tailgate opens automatically. So say for example, this would be useful if you have a lot of things in your hands and you can't hit the button down here to open the tailgate. You simply come back here, kick 3 times, and it opens up for you. And now back here, this offers a lot of space. So being back in the trunk right here, since it's an SUV and it offers a really high liftgate, there's a lot of storage space back here. You can definitely fit taller items, and in fact, the rear seats actually fold flat, so you could potentially camp back here. I know for me, I would really like to try this eventually with camping in an electric vehicle. But like I mentioned, there's a lot of space. You do get a level 1 charger with the vehicle, and it's really, really practical. So as mentioned earlier in the video, Volkswagen is really targeting the crossover competitors in this category. So think of things like the Toyota RAV4, the Honda CR-V, things of that nature. The SUV market is really popular here in the United States, and I definitely think the ID.4 is going to be a very valid competitor in that market. So with every electric vehicle, aerodynamics is very important when it comes to the exterior body style, and the ID.4 is no different. You have this beautiful body line right here that wraps around the vehicle that pushes air around the car. And you also have air intakes on the front of the vehicle that pushes air curtains around the vehicle as well. So with most electric vehicles on the market nowadays, they have flat door handles that doesn't protrude from the vehicle, which also works with the body panels for aerodynamics. And underneath each door panels is a touch sensor that you simply just pull and the door pops open. To lock it, there's a little button right here. You just simply tap that, hit that, and the mirrors will fold in as well. So it really creates a nice looking exterior, and it's very futuristic, and I think Volkswagen did a really good job with the exterior body style of the ID.4. Now for the interior of the ID.4. Now, as mentioned earlier, this is the first edition trim, so there are some trim interior bits that are only for the first edition. Like, for example, this white steering wheel and some white accents that you see on each door panel. So the white interior color stretches from here to the screen behind us, as well as this front infotainment screen. The other vehicles with the different trims, you can get a black steering wheel with some black trim, as well as brown trim with a black steering wheel. So the ID.4 offers a lot of interior options, and honestly, I do like how bright this white steering wheel is, but I think for me, I'd probably go with the black steering wheel with the brown interior. So with the first edition trim, you get some nice features like power driver as well as a power passenger seat with 2-person memory settings. However, the one thing that we found out this morning is that it offers a massage feature for both of these seats. And it's you can activate it using these buttons right here on the seat. However, I will tell you, this was our first time using a car with massaging seats, and it was the weirdest sensation. I never experienced anything like that. It's not for me, but after a long day, it could feel nice on the way home. So what's another unique and quirky feature of the ID.4 is the window switches right here. So you have your rear window lock for children, you have your door locks, your powered mirrors, but what's so unique about this is that you only have 2 switches right here. And there's a button right here that says rear. So what that means is that in order to roll down the back windows, you have to hit this button and that will activate the switches for the back windows. Now, if you want to open the front windows, you simply click that again, and then when the light turns off, you can now open and close the front windows. I'm not exactly sure why Volkswagen did that. I think it's probably a futuristic twist to this really basic function, but it's unique and quirky and definitely worth highlighting. So with the ID.4 being based on the MEB platform, since it's meant to be electrified from the ground up, with the battery sitting low on the bottom of the chassis, it really allows for a wide and open back seat. It has a really nice flat floor, and I'm 6'1", and this is how I fit in it. You just simply step in, and that's really it. Like I said, the floor is very flat. You don't have any wide or steep things to get over when you step into the vehicle. And you also have the white trim that matches what you see in the front seat. So sitting in the back seat, as I mentioned, I'm 6'1", so I am a taller individual, but because you have this massive panoramic sunroof, it really opens up how much height you have in the back seat. I honestly think if you're shorter than 6 foot, you'll have absolutely no problem. And if you're a kid, you'll have no issues either. What's also really cool is that behind both seats, you have a little pocket for your cell phone. So one thing I do want to highlight is that we talked about the 2 switches up front for the back windows, but both doors back here have their own individual switches. So you don't have to worry about hitting that. You'll be able to control it individually back here. The child's lock is on. Thanks.
I think you did that.
Yep, I did.
Locking your children in.
Yeah. So now that we're on the interior of the ID.4 First Edition, as I mentioned before, the First Edition is the only version of the ID.4 that comes with this white steering wheel as well as these white interior design features. So with the dashboard right here, it's a very, very modern design. We have a 5-inch display right behind the steering wheel, which we'll get to in a second, and this really beautiful 12-inch display right here. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that the base model of the ID.4 comes with a 10-inch touchscreen standard. However, when you move up the trim levels, that's when you can get this 12-inch touchscreen. Now, this touchscreen is pretty much the heart of the vehicle. It's angled towards the driver, so it really allows the driver to have easy access to the features, and it has this really nice user interface that's all tile-based. What's also really cool about this car is that there's gesture controls, so I'm not touching anything and I can swipe through the screens. I really like that feature. I think it's really cool. And now, this screen right here will control everything from your temperature to your backup camera, to your media. As I mentioned, it's literally the heart of the car. So let's say, for example, we want to check on some data and check and change some settings of the vehicle through this touchscreen. So it's very responsive, and you can see through this exterior design, you can change things like your exterior lights, mirrors, headlights, tires, things of that nature. And you can just simply swipe through and you find some different settings that you can save. There's also different charging data if you want to dive further into that, if you're a data nerd like me. You can set charging locations, which is really nice, so you can build a list of chargers that you use. Vehicle, as I mentioned. Status, so if you want to check tire pressure. And then this data is going to show you efficiency based on your start, long-term driving, and since the last full charge. So this dashboard infotainment screen really provides all the information you'd be looking for. So one thing I want to mention is that Android Auto and Apple CarPlay does come standard with every trim of the ID.4. So you can pull in your media, navigation, all those goodies right here on the screen using the USB-C ports right below. So it's really nice. I really like how this works, and I think it's going to work really well over time. The other thing I do want to mention is that the ID.4 does come with over-the-air software updates, so if there is any other feature software updates, for this car, it will download automatically using a cellular connection or Wi-Fi. So one thing I do want to point out is this massive panoramic sunroof. However, this sunroof does not open, but it does allow a lot of natural light into the cabin of the ID.4. The base model ID.4 does not come with this panoramic roof. It's only the upper trims as well as the first edition. But I gotta say, it is absolutely beautiful. So right now the car is off. And the way that you can tell that is that you have this ID.4 that's pointed towards the outside of the vehicle. In order to turn the car on, all you have to do is have the key somewhere in the car, which it's in my pocket, and put your foot on the brake. And now the car is on. And now this 5-inch screen right here gives you a lot of information. So like you can see that you have your driver assistance. So as you're driving, it will show vehicles in front of you as well as pedestrians. We learned that last night, which is really cool. And you have a lot of just simple information. So you have your speed, your driving range, and then this line down here is your power output as well as your regenerative braking. And now to the right of this column, you have the gear selector, which is really unique. So the simplest way that I can describe this is, say for example, you want to go forward. You put your foot on the brake and you twist this to go forward or in drive. And then if you want a little heavier regen, you push it one more time to go into B mode or brake mode. And then to go into neutral, you just simply half roll it towards you. And then if you want to go in reverse, as I mentioned, you want to go backwards, so you bring it towards you. And now it will bring up this full HD backup camera that also has the parking sensors all around you. And what's also nice is when you turn the steering wheel, those lines adjust with you. And then to put it back in park, you just simply press the button right on the end, and now it's in park. So the steering wheel has some really unique buttons. These are actually all capacitive touch buttons as well as physical buttons. It's kind of hard to describe it, but Volkswagen has done a really good job with offering some type of vibrating feedback to let you know that you clicked on something. So over here you have your cruise control and adaptive cruise control options. Like I mentioned, you can click that and you feel like a really kind of unique vibrate, like you're pressing in a button, even though you're technically not. And down here, this is one of those touch buttons where you can simply just slide your finger and it's changing the mode for you. Over here, you have your voice activation virtual assistant, which we'll get to in a second. It's called the ID light. And you have your volume, your skip and repeat, and then you can also change the view of the screen behind here. So if you hit that, it makes your driver assistance a little bit bigger and then your speed a little bit smaller. And that's really all the information you get from this screen. So I think Volkswagen did a really good job of simplifying what the driver can see right in front of them and the data that really means the most to an electric vehicle driver. So one of the unique features of the interior is this virtual assistant that Volkswagen calls the ID light. And it's a string of 54 LED lights that goes across the dashboard right in front of the driver as well as the passenger. So what this is that this is a voice-activated assistant, almost similar to an Alexa or a Google Home, and you can tell it things like, I'm cold, I'm hot, and it reacts based on your voice command. So all you have to do to activate it is say, hello ID. The light will come on, and say for example, I'm cold.
Sorry, you cannot currently select any music. Please try again later.
So the ID light, it works well, but I think because I put a string of statements in, that's where it got confused. So we'll just start by saying, I'm cold. Hello ID. Hello ID. I'm cold.
Okay, warming the left front side now.
So there's microphones all over the vehicle that picks up the person's voice depending on where they're sitting in the vehicle. So the ID light will show up depending on who is talking. So for me, since I said I was cold, it only warmed up my side of the car since there's a dual climate control system. So this ID light offers a lot of different feedbacks. As I mentioned, it's an LED string of lights, so it changes colors based on different status. With like charging status, it will pulsate while the car's charging. If you're getting too close to a car that's possibly could result in an accident, it will flash red. When you're driving and you're navigating, it will actually run a light or blue light across the dashboard to tell you which direction you need to turn. So the ID light is really cool. You can also say like navigation, play music, things like that. It's a really cool feature. And I gotta say, all the interior ambient lighting as well as the ID light at night makes this interior absolutely stunning. So another nice feature of the interior lighting are these LED ambient lights that stretch across the dashboard as well as down here around the door pockets. And you can customize them to literally a plethora of multiple colors. So you can select color 1, which is the top part of the dash, and then color 2 is down by the doors. So right now we are doing yellow and peach, and now it's blue. What's also cool is that it allows you to do presets. So this one's called Infinity, which is like an orange, and it also changes the background of the touchscreen. This is Eternity, which is more of like a white green. You have this blue, which is called Desire. Euphoria, which is red. And Vitality, which is yellow. So anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video and the overview of the Volkswagen ID.4. An overnight test drive is enough to leave a good impression, but honestly, I would like to spend more time with this car. I will say though, in the short time that we've had with this car, I would say it's a worthy competitor to any vehicle that you might be looking at, especially if you are looking to go electric. It's simple, it's efficient, and I think the body design works really well for this vehicle. And I think it makes it a good everyday EV. So if you have any questions, definitely leave a comment in the comment section. I would love to start a conversation with you guys. And I would love to know what you think of the ID.4. So anyways, everyone, if you like this video, make sure you like and share with your friends. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to Everyday EV. I absolutely appreciate the support, so thank you everybody. And as always, make sure you take care, stay safe, and make every day electrifying. I'll see you in the next one.